Fell Burgundy Iris or Moses Cleveland's Canterbury Tales, Book 10, line 2783. The mists of time, but by design, but in the moment mote to find, but blind indeed the light of faith to guide, and halfway thus indeed be met, and blood to be, yet to be let, but by your will and hand for to abide. By raven sang what twitter tweet, by bird can't fate ere yet to greet, the raven's kiss a blessing to receive, the raven's kiss but for to know, a blessing some indeed forego, but spurned indeed by those who would deceive, and spurned indeed by she who rose, a dilemma thus indeed to pose. Catania nearly stumbled on the gnome, who slashed her ankle, stabbed her knee, in fright, or in with Janus be, with blood now drawn the blade went to the bone. For to befall, but worse to come, for Janus' gag had come undone, her piercing blade now pressed against her throat. By his hand and nay to whisper, winced she, the silence nay to break, with trolls about, the rake to taunt and gloat. With trolls about and blood now drawn, the air about grew heavy now, and hostage to the rake Catania be. Up from behind the giant came the situation to survey, with caution thus appraised it was by he. And viper thus the gnome attacked, but with her knife the cordage hacked. Not wearily she stabbed him in the throat. What best defense now bleeding out, his windpipe severed, blood did spout. Reserve not he, did Janus taunt and gloat. Reserve not he, and by design, to bait the minions thus inclined, to leave the dog behind to bait the trolls, to leave the dog behind to bleed the hungry trolls, indeed to please. Bit through her boot, her ankle nipped, the gnome. But with her knife did Janus gloat, he wrapped the cordage round her throat, her hands and feet but bound indeed as well. The gnome approached the giant she, around his waist she wrapped the lead, secured with knots she bid them for to march. The cordage to the gnome secured, the giant marched with quite a lurch, but clumsy she but for her knife to drop. As Janus kicked Catania down, her arms and legs and throat be bound, she in a swoon from the knife wound, for a spell. The gnome's fell aphrodisiac had triggered thus her motor lapse, her blooded knee she rubbed on Janus' breeches. A puncture wound but quick to seal, in no time thus indeed would heal, requiring indeed not even stitches. Prostrate with weakness thus had been, her spinning mind indeed did swim, she managed to roll over on her back. The rope around her neck but loose, but by her jaw, dragged like a goose, oblivious and senses for to lack. Then Janus threw away her knife, what dagger, evidence of strife, what highwayman ever the rake did be. Catania giggled at the thought, nay indeed was she distraught, though stoned and boned, nay to be owned was she. She stoned and boned, nay to be owned, a righteous rake, no wisdom loaned. He weaponless, his arms packed by the giant. He weaponless, it nay to dawn upon him, midst his gloating taunts. He pulling up ahead, ever compliant. He pulling, cordage for to yank, what giant strides, but for to thank, the gnome and Janus running to keep up. They pulled and tugged and running be, she giggling inside with glee, with naught to do, nay for indeed to duck. Dragged by her jaw, indeed the welts, 'twere forming there, had yet be felt. Sensation soft and sticky touched her back. But for the smell that rose about, of swamp and pitch for to call out, she settled in her mind as all went black. Away from she fell once more, aromas nay for to adore, her conscious mind receding, for to lapse. The pressure on her jaw relented, what rage and anger for to vent, frustrated, locked in silence be, perhaps. What cool, clear What cool, clear air to cleanse her mind, but tumult, darkness there to find, but spinning, tumbling, falling, for to feel her mind but reeling in a whirl, with thoughts around indeed to swirl, by thoughts surrounded, nay, she for to grasp, but falling, whirling in a swirl, with thoughts like feathers to unfurl, but reaching for one with her mind to clasp. It's stable for her mind to view, the swirling vortex did ensue, with thoughts but whirling, indeed, for to reel, but fishing for that feather now, wishing, her mind inside to scowl. Subconsciously she met herself within. What motive thought the feather brought? It black as pitch, like night besought, upon her blade the gnome to fall had been. A tolerance acquired be, to fell love tincture acquired she, to run it off she having poked herself, to run it off but for to send, to panic she for to descend, to run it off before she hit the shelf. She shelved herself what trophy she upon her shelf displayed she be, to run with scissors, ignorance to dis. With scissors ran she through the mists, groping her blade with balled up fists, not loosey-goosey, in ignorance and bliss. In blissful ignorance she to descend, no trip to find indeed she to suspend, no trip to lose she fell upon her blade, again to blissful ignorance to send. Nay, runs with scissors, ere for to ignore, what child's wisdom ere for to abhor, what child's wisdom nary for to bank, too busy flogging bankers to deplore, what cavalcade of consciousness to know, upon her shelf the gnome nay to forego, but by design herself to find and know, facade to fall and airs for to let go. Thus lunged she at Catania when awakened, no mask to wear or airs be undertaken, no time to mount a masquerade or makeup but for face to save, or role to play with but no preparation. Spurned and burned her disguise thus forsaken, compassion from Catania be mistaken, which told the bell intent for fate, haps different, twould she be ere late, with tardiness no cause for termination. Her ankle bled but for the trolls to bring, but pitch to bind but for her blood to sing. She spared of fate for trolls to please, her fate but still to be deceased, but hair to find upon examination. The raven's caw but came therefore to greet, the witch Cassandra of the swamp to meet. But for her heart her soul took flight, with blackened down and nay to spite, to journey out of body with fixation. A truthful omen ere for yet to be, the paradigm restored as was by she. No proxy raven for to know, and frauded portents for to show, but for to quell what foe anticipation. Above the trees to soar with feathered wings, the mists of time to know what fate doth bring. Above the world, nay for to mind, with death fell droppings, left behind, upon the winds of destiny on station. Upon the winds of destiny to know, what fate to pluck and what for to forego. The witch Cassandra of the swamp, upon the winds of destiny to know, what fate to pluck and what for to forego. The witch Cassandra of the swamp, with spade, guitar, and boogie stomp, would slide to bide within this iteration. 6/11/26. Love you all. Have a good night. Man, it took me, I've been trying to record this all day and I keep misplacing words. So it's here. Hope you like it.